This station, we had 6 pieces of apparatus. 3, the old Mack, tanker, and the Jeep. 2 ambulances. All right, we figured there's enough room down there to house 12 pieces. So we figured, all right, that'll last us for 20 years. We won't have to worry about where we're going to put our trucks. And it's ironic that about 20 years later, this place was busting at the seams, and we had 10 or 12 trucks up to Dayton's terminal. That shows you what planning does. All right, the other thing is the different styles, say for American LaFrance. I think they were one of the first ones to come out with a cab forward as far as their custom apparatus goes. All right, engine 3 is a Series 700. Narrow cab, big fenders. Then they come out with the Series 800 for a while. And then, that didn't catch on, I don't think, for some reason or other. Then they come out with the Series 900. All right, the 900 is like the Squirt. You got a wider cab, narrower fenders. Then they come out with the Century, engine 13. Still wider cab, still narrower fenders. And then you come out with Eagle, it's all cab. All right, one of the big things, I think, was safety. When the Mack, you had room for 2 guys in the cab, and everybody else was on the back end of the truck. And even engine 3, that was built to have guys riding on the tailboard. In fact, they had the strap hangers on there, and they even put a windshield to protect the guys. And they got, every year, say nationwide, I don't know how many dozen guys were killed riding on the tailboard of a truck. You can just picture that. You're going down the road 50 miles an hour, and you lose your grip on that bar in the back. You hit the ground going 50 miles an hour. Think what that does to the human body. And that's what was going on. If you had a wreck, or if you just lost your grip, maybe you swerved and throw you off. So that's why I think one of the reasons they started going to wider and bigger cabs to make sure that everybody was inside, in a seat, buckled up, and you didn't have that problem. All right, in the early 70s, we heard of an outfit up in New York State, Lake George, had a new truck, or not a new truck, had a truck for sale, American LaFrance. And it was a 900 series. Well, the wife and I were going to go up. This is above Albany. And we had some friends up this side of Albany, and we were going to visit for 2 or 3 days. And so while we were there, I went on up to Lake George. Hey, I fell in love with that truck. Oh, that looked like a beauty. All right, they wanted $14,000 for it. So we looked it all over. I called back, got a hold of John. He said he'd call me back. He got a hold of Paul Mays, who was on the Borough Council. They called me back and said, tell them we'll take it. So I solidified the deal. So later on, I took 2 guys, and we went up to pick up the truck. And I guess we got up there in the afternoon, but we didn't want to drive back then. So we said, all right, we'll stay overnight and drive back in the morning. So we went down to the restaurant or the hotel, or wherever, the motel, ordered steak dinner, always ordered steak dinner. On the company tab. No charge. Lake George took care of it. Well, that was nice. Waitress got a good tip. So the next morning, got checking out of the motel, no charge. Lake George took care of it. Went for breakfast. Lake George took care of it. Hey, they were nice people to deal with. And I got my first touch of seeing what Rain X does. It was overcast that day, and they coated the windshield with Rain X before we left. Now, it was misty and rainy coming back, and we never used the windshield once. That Rain X really did the job. And so we'd swap every 50, 70 mile, and one guy would drive, one guy would sit in the jump seat, third guy would drive my car. And then we'd just change positions. When we got that back, put it in service, it weighed 21,000 pounds, which is what it was designed for. That truck would run like a scared rabbit. It would fairly fly over Gillette's Hill. All right, then we got planned. Increased the size of the water tank, increased the size of the hose bed, added this, added that. Even put a sprinkler system on top of the truck to protect the truck. By the time we were done, it weighed 31,000. And instead of flying up Gillette's Hill, you needed a pusher truck to get it up over the hill. Didn't work. Then we started buying used equipment. And my thought always was, the guys enjoyed working on engine 11. That was a 62 LaFrance. And so I thought, well, if we could do that, buy used equipment, put a little cosmetic work on them, turn around and sell them, make a couple thousand, hey, we would enjoy it, and we'd be making some money. So we started buying used trucks. I went all over down to this side of Philadelphia. I was up in Greece, outside of Rochester, and we bought trucks from all over. And then the ultimate was when we went down to Long Island and bought 4 from at one clip down there. And so instead of just fixing the trucks up to resell, the powers that be fixed them up to run. We had the Mack, the old engine 3, had engine 11, engine 12, engine 21, engine 22, engine 23, engine 31, engine 32, engine 33. One of the things was when you were trying to recruit new members, come on, join us, we'll issue you your own truck. Engine 22 was a good truck. That was a good running truck. But you had, I guess the maintenance bills were starting to add up. You take 10 trucks out, you always tow 2 back. You know? But we always win. I'm not so sure sometimes we had more trucks than we had drivers.
Got George's own pager so he could respond.
Yeah, we had George on the payroll. His record was always in service. You know. So after that, we bought an open cab, a white one from the city of Williamsport. That was a 700 series, Casper. We used to use that to give rides at Carnival. We bought one open cab, 700, that had a diesel transplant in it. We bought 2 or 3 ladder trucks, snorkel. We had a raft of stuff. Now they had a fire sale, and I'm not going to get into that. The truck that stuff went for pennies on a dollar. But anyway, we downsized. Some of the other trucks we bought we bought 2 international small trucks. One was 7,000 GVW, single axle, single wheel. The other one was 10,000 pounds with dual wheels. All right, the purpose, what I thought, is to have the mini pumper on the dual wheel truck, and the other one be more like our patrols. Send them to an outfit down New Jersey. They came back with steel bodies, both minis, and they backed them in the station. They weighed 10,000 pounds. And that was supposed to be the weight when they were loaded. First thing they had to do was take the dual wheel, take it down, put bigger springs on it. The single wheel, they tore out the whole axle and put in another whole rear axle with dual wheels, beefed the springs up on that one. When they wound up having those in service, I think the 7,000 pounds was up to 14. The 10,000 was 15. Now the Ambulance Association took his ambulance out of service because it was too heavy. Hey, we had a ton of that stuff. I will say this. Those internationals, we used to wind them up like you wouldn't believe. The RPMs, you thought they were going to blow up and come right out of the hood. And as far as I know, we never had any trouble with those motors. Those buggers just kept running. And I always thought that was pretty amazing. They were one rugged piece of equipment. So I think that'll do it for this time. And I've got a few more things in mind. Thanks.
Thanks, Tom. That's why you need a bigger station, huh? When I first came in, they were all down here.